Before we get into today's video, I'd like to give a shout out to one of our newest subscribers, Morgan Doyle. Thank you for subscribing, and welcome to the family. And now on with today's video. My life as a teenage robot. This show has some memories attached to it. Some great life lessons for teenagers. From bullies to trying to fit in, trying to find belonging, to creepy, annoying stalkers, to teenage romance, to discrimination and underaged marriage. What even was this show? I mean, Brad was, I believe, 17 in that episode, and we find out later that the alien was technically an adult in their culture. A teacher, so what even was this? Anyway, welcome back, my dear viewers, to Pathfinder Hero Flux. That is short for Fluctuation. This is similar to my Dungeons & Dragons character conversion series, where we take a look at characters from cross-media and convert them into a playable character for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And today we are taking a look at XJ-9, also known as Ginny Wakeman. And, well, there's really not much to talk about. We're talking about a robot designed to be a teenage girl, but is actually a super weapon. But she just wants to be a normal teenager. So let's go ahead and get right into it, starting things off with our stats. Your free ability score increases are going into Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, and Intelligence. Now, there are two ancestries that we need to talk about. The android and the automaton. Both are robotic ancestries that have slightly different origins. The android, according to the lore, is somewhat of an artificial soul. They were brought to life when pure positive energy was shot through their bodies, creating a mimicry of a soul. While the lore for the automatons is that their humanoid creators mysteriously started to go through an apocalypse of sorts, so they ended up transferring their souls into the robotic bodies of these automatons. So we have the artificial soul from the android and the transferred soul from the automaton. Now, the artificial soul would have worked, but we have to look at some of the features that the automaton uses. And unfortunately, the feat adopted ancestry does not work for an automaton transferring over into an android, because automatons are rare. And we needed a common ancestry to transfer to our android. So we're just going to go with the ancestry of automaton for this video, with the heritage of warrior automaton. This is going to give us a +2 to our strength and a +2 to our intelligence. We'll start off with 8 hit points, a speed of 25 feet. We're going with the languages of Common, Utopian. We'll go with Androphin, since we do have other types of robots, which are the androids. But there are also the Aklo language, which is for Dero and other species, including otherworldly species, which would be aliens, which we have encountered in my life as a teenage robot. You get the automaton core, constructed body, low light vision, and the ancestry feat, automaton armament. For our background, we are going to grab the free spirit. While you are technically programmed to be a machine used to protect, destroy, and, well, battle, you just want to be an ordinary teenager. And more often than not, you find a flaw within yourself, being a robot instead of a human. Ugh. Body dysmorphia was very prevalent within this show, I see. We actually had, I believe, a minimum of 2 episodes where Jenny struggled with being a robot, or even being who she was. It's a very sad topic, and I have talked about this before, but viewers, please, you need to love who you are. Not just on the outside, but what's on the inside, because that is the most important. It's the one thing that My Life as a Teenage Robot helps with showing, is this inner beauty that is more important than what is on the surface. And it's something that a lot of people struggle with, most prominently the female gender, as we have seen not just in My Life as a Teenage Robot, but stories from the real world. And it's just sad. People don't love who they are, so they try to change it. Anyway, with that out of the way, Free Spirit gives you a bonus to your constitution and your charisma. You get trained skills and survival and a lore of a specific place that you have been in. This would be your hometown, which is Chamolton. You also get the free feat Forager, which not really useful for XJ-9, but she could still use it to help her friends. Moving on to our class, we are going with the Rogue. We're going to go ahead and increase our dexterity by 2 more points. We'll get some bonus hit points equal to 8 plus our constitution modifier, which is going to be 10, so we'll get a nice solid 18 hit points. We are experts in perception. We have saving throws, trained in fortitude, and expert of reflex and will. We are trained in the following skills: acrobatics, athletics, deception, diplomacy, intimidation, medicine, nature, occultism, performance, religion, society, and stealth. For attacks, we are trained in unarmed strikes, as well as simple weapons and some other weaponry. I forgot to re-enter those since I had to completely rewrite this character after learning that the adopted ancestry feat would not work for this build. For your defense, you are trained in light armor and unarmored defense. You are getting the class feat of nimble dodge and the skill feat of multilingual. You get the rogue's subclass, which is known as a racket scoundrel. You also get sneak attack and surprise attack. Now, nimble dodge and multilingual are actually very good for XJ-9. Multilingual mostly because Jenny is programmed to know every single human language on Earth. This would probably translate to knowing as many languages that can be on the home plane of Pathfinder 2nd Edition, whatever languages you have in your world. And nimble dodge is just useful in my opinion, since you are trying to dodge mostly lasers, but also other types of attacks. Level 2, we are trained in the skill of thievery, experts in acrobatics. We get the class feat Monk Dedication and the skill feat No Cause for Alarm, which honestly has some very good features in all of these, and Monk mostly for that powerful fist, though a lot of the dedication features are going to be useful for this build, since we are already getting a similar ability from our warrior automaton heritage. Level 3 rogues get expert skill in athletics, a general feat in fleet, increasing our movement speed by 5 feet, the skill feat hefty holler, and of course deny advantage. Rogues at level 4 get expert skill in society, the class feat Monk Resiliency, and the skill feat Powerful Leap. Monk Resiliency gives us more hit points, which is definitely useful since we are indeed a robot, so it's going to be a little bit harder to knock us down. And Powerful Leap gives us an increase on our jumping distance, 5 feet vertically and 5 feet horizontally. Level 5 will go ahead and get an ability score increases to our Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, and Charisma. You are experts in the Diplomacy skill will get the Ancestry feat Energy Beam, and the skill feat Quick Jump, and we also have Weapon Tricks from the Rogue. For our Rogue level 6, we are experts in our specific place lore, which is our hometown. We have the class feat of The Harder They Fall, and the skill feat Titan Wrestler, which we have gone over before. But with The Harder They Fall, you are able to trip a flat-footed foe. Let's see, you make foes fall painfully when you trip them. When you successfully trip a flat-footed foe, your target takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage. On a critical success, it takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage plus your sneak attack damage. So pretty nice. Rogue level 7 gets a master proficiency in acrobatics, a general feat of weapon proficiency, which will give us access to the martial weapons. We'll get the skill Kip Up. We also have evasion, vigilant senses, and weapon specialization. And Kip Up is a nice little feature that keeps us from triggering reactions when we stand up. So very useful. Level 8 rogues get master proficiency in athletics. We'll get the class feat Monk Moves and the skill feat Sign Language, which just gives us sign language. But Monk Moves increase our movement speed when we are not wearing armor, and since we are technically a robot, we don't need armor. Level 9 rogues are now getting master proficiency in society, the ancestry feat Integrated Armament, and the skill feat Biographical Eye, as well as getting Debilitating Strike and Great Fortitude. I thought that these two features that would actually work very well for XJ-9, especially Biographical Eye, but that Integrated Armament is for, well, having weapons integrated into your body. At level 10, we'll go ahead and get ability score increases in Strength, Dexterity, Intelligence, and Wisdom. You're now experts in the Deception skill and trained in the Crafting skill. We'll get the class feat Monk's Flurry and the skill feat Acrobatics Mastery, which are some pretty decent features in my opinion. With Flurry of Blows, we are going to be getting some extra unarmed attacks, which, yes, it's very useful. You also get the Flourishing trait on your strikes, so that's pretty good. Moving on to level 11, we get the Expert skill of Performance, General feat Shield Block, and a skill feat Sow Rumor. You are a teenager after all, so you're decently good at spreading rumors, unfortunately. And you also have Rogue Expertise, which is very good. Rogues at level 12 are masters in the Diplomacy skill, get a class feat of Felling Shot, and the skill feat of Quick Swim. Felling Shot is able to knock enemies out of the air. Simple as that. So that is going to be very useful for when you are facing flying enemies, such as other robots. Level 13, we get the Expert skill in Stealth, Ancestry feat of Arcane Propulsion, which is your flying speed, skill feat in Unmistakable Lore, Improved Evasion, Incredible Senses, Light Armor Expertise, and Master Tricks. Your Arcane Propulsion gives you a flying speed equal to your walking speed, which at this point is really, really fast. Level 14, we are experts in the Intimidation skill. We get the class feat of Sidestep and the skill feat of Quick Climb, which we have seen Jenny do when she isn't exactly able to fly, which has happened once or twice. At level 15, we'll go ahead and increase our strength and dexterity each by 1, and constitution and intelligence each by 2. We now have legendary proficiency in acrobatics, are trained in the arcana skill, we have the general feat of expeditious search, skill feat of catfall, we have double debilitation, and greater weapon specialization. Expeditious search and catfall just help improve on Jenny's character. And sometimes Jenny's able to survive most falls, not all falls, but most falls. So it made sense to have catfall, so she could catch herself from falling with her jetpack feature, her propulsion. That's the way I would flavor it, at least. Moving on to level 16, we are now getting the legendary proficiency in the athletic skill, class feat of Dispelling Slice, and the skill feat Eye for Numbers. Dispelling Slice was actually a pretty decent looking feature, so I went ahead and grabbed it just because it seemed like something that was possible with Jenny's attacks. Moving over to level 17 Rogue, we are legendary in Society skill. We get the ancestry feat of Core Cannon, which is definitely useful. And I wish this was accessible earlier, but it makes sense that it's only accessible at level 17. We also get the skill Cloud Jump, which increases our jumping distance, which is very nice. We also have Slippery Mind for just being a rogue. Level 18 Rogue, we are now Masters in Performance. We get the class feat Head Stomp and the skill feat Experienced Tracker. Level 19, we'll get the legendary skill in Diplomacy, we'll get the general feat Toughness, and the skill feat Improvised Tool. So that's useful. And for level 20 Rogue, go ahead and increase your strength and dexterity each by 1, increase your wisdom and charisma by 2, get the expert skill in crafting, the class feat Bullseye, and the skill feat Legendary Negotiation. And I forgot to put those in the slide. Anyway, that is all for today's video. I do apologize for the late posting. It just didn't have time and I had to redo this whole entire build. But how did you enjoy this video? Let me know down in the comment section below, and if you're looking for a very specific character, tell me who they are and where they come from. With that being said, this has been Drahan, and I am offline.